our speaker is no less than Dr. Gelza Zabat. She is a fellow of the Philippine Society for Microbiology and Infectious Diseases, a fellow of the Philippine College of Physicians, and a member of the FISMID Adult Immunization Committee. So let us welcome Dr. Gelza Sabat.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Sir Red. Thank you, Dr. Kate, for this invite. This is actually a good avenue to discuss one of the pressing issues on COVID vaccination, especially for immunocompromised hosts, and especially the population of people with HIV. So this is again just like Dr. Maris, Dr. Nepomuceno. We would like to thank the Adult Immunization Committee of the Philippine Society for Microbiology and Infectious Diseases for these slide sets. Okay. So first, I would like to show you this. So I would like to thank Kate Winslet for describing to us yung R naught. So yung R naught kasi, yun yung important in such a way that how we measure how infectious is a virus or a disease. So for COVID-19, yung R naught natin is between 2 to 3. Okay? So ibig sabihin, lagay natin sa 3. For every one person na merong sakit na ito, pag hindi siya protektado, may mga susceptible na tao sa paligid niya, pwede siya maka-infect ng 2 hanggang 3 na tao. So yung 2 tao na yun or 3 tao, makaka-infect uli ng 2 hanggang 3. So nakita nyo, ang bilis niya mag-multiply. So you've seen this slide. Worldwide, there are already more than 100 million cases. And more than 2 million people have died already because of COVID-19. In the Philippines alone, we have more than 500,000 cases with 10,000 people who have died. So is this not enough for us to have that vaccine to prevent more of these deaths? So yun ang pinakaligtas at mabisang paraan para ma-prevent natin or mapigilan natin ang paglaganap lalo ng COVID-19. So bakit? Ano bang mga paraan para magkaroon tayo ng hindi tayo magkaroon ng COVID-19? Nang hindi nagkakasakit, immunization lang ang paraan. Otherwise, kung nagkasakit ka, pwede. Sabi nila, may posibilidad na magkaroon ka ng immunity din. Pero will it last? For COVID-19, we are still not sure. If yung infection mo will last na protective ka tulad ng nagka-measles ka or nagka-chickenpox ka. Ngayon, yung isang paraan is yung immunization. Hindi ka na dadaan sa nararamdaman ng mga taong may sakit. Hindi ka na magkakaroon ng natural infection. At syempre, kapag meron ka nitong acquired immunity, either from natural infection or from immunization, hindi mo rin mapapasa yung sakit. And yung sinabi ni Dr. Nepomuceno, pwede kang magkaroon ng magka-contribute sa herd immunity. Okay? So, 2 paraan para magka-immunity so far against COVID-19. Magkaroon ka ng sakit, so mararamdaman mo lahat yon. Walang pang-amoy, walang panlasa, or kapag pangit, mahirapan ka huminga, maa-admit ka, or baka pangit ang kahinatnan. Or, hindi mo maramdaman lahat yon through vaccination. But before we discuss about the vaccines, we have to define ano ba yung efficacy versus effectiveness. Maririnig nyo to ilang beses sa lahat ng mga journals, mga news reports. For both, yung meaning niya is paano ba pinabababa ang pagkakaroon ng sakit or ng COVID-19 dahil sa vaccination. Ang pagkakaiba nila is yung efficacy, it is done under controlled conditions. So may grupo ng tao, pinili sila, may mga criteria, ideal yung settings. Sa kanila pinag-aralan yung bakuna. Ngayon, effectiveness, on the other hand, real world ito. Kumbaga, ni-launch na yung vaccine, tiningnan kung ano, kasi gumagalaw na sila sa real world. Hindi na kontrolado yung environment nila. So, more of an estimate. So, effectiveness will measure the worst case scenario. On the other hand, efficacy will give us the best case scenario. So usually, effectiveness is lower than efficacy. But what we know as of now, we have efficacy. Yun yung madalas na naririnig nyo. Another term na dapat maintindihan natin is reactogenicity. Haba, di ba? So, ito ay ano bang reaksyon ang magkakaroon yung katawan natin kapag nagkaroon kayo ng bakuna? So, it's a manifestation, okay, ng body natin dahil nabakunahan kayo. Doesn't mean na may sakit kayo. It's just a reaction. Pwedeng dun sa site ng binakunahan kayo or yung meron na kung naramdaman nyo na, minsan may flu-like symptoms ka, masakit ulo, iba nilalagnat. Di ba mga bata, nilalagnat sila, sinasabi ng pedya, pwedeng lagnatin pag binigyan ng bakuna. So these are reactogenicity. So yung na-discuss din kanina ni Dr. Nepomuceno, meron tayong tinatawag na Emergency Use Authorization. So itong EUA is sinasabi nito na yung FDA can approve a promising candidate, especially for those who are at risk, habang hindi pa tapos ang pag-aaral. They have to continue collecting data. So EUA for us, any medical product before the application is approved by the FDA. So the product can receive the EUA should it demonstrate potential benefit and this outweighs the potential risk. So kailangan tinitimbang yung benefit versus yung risk. So this EUA is granted usually to groups of people na high risk. So malaki yung tsansa na magka-COVID-19 sila. Kasi they are the ones who will benefit because of the sheer need para maprotektahan ang grupo ng taong ito. So habang binigay ito, gusto natin silang maprotektahan so that they would decrease the risks. And at the same time, tinutuloy pa rin na obserbahan yung mga na pinag-aaralang participants sa studies na to. Kasi hindi pa nga tapos eh, kaya emergency use. So ginagamit na siya, may potential benefit, gamitin na natin, pero yung pag-aaral, hindi pa ititigil. So this process gives the FDA the power to grant and require, may kailangan pa bang datos, kailangan pa ba tayong information para mabigyan natin EUA? Is this enough? Yung benefit ba niya enough para ibigyan ng EUA? Hindi ba ito makakasama? Yun ang mga basihan ng FDA. And once EUA is granted, then the government can procure the vaccine and distribute it sa kanilang at-risk population. So wag niyo isipin na pag may EUA, it's a lower standard. Di pa tapos pag-aaral. But it's more tailored and flexible because it will protect those who are at risk and who need it the most. But evidence is still being gathered even with this EUA. So let's go to the meat of this lecture, the SARS-CoV-2 vaccines. There are three phases. You have to understand that the phases, that these vaccines undergo phases of clinical trials. This is a good illustration of these phases. So, pag sinabing phase 1, yung mga binibigyan ng bakuna, maliit lang na population, 20 to 100, at lahat sila walang sakit. Okay? Ang gusto lang natin malaman, safe ba tong bakunang ito? Meron bang serious na side effects? May possibility ba na gumawa ito ng ng antibodies? Okay? At ano ang dose na tama? Dito inaalam ko anong dose. Pag okay dito, pumasa dito, pupunta ang bakuna sa phase 2. Mas marami ang population dito, several hundreds. Mas makikita dito ano ang side effects kasi mas marami ng tao eh. And mas mabibilang natin, mas malalaman natin dahil sa mas maraming participants is the immune system really responding to the vaccines. And now the phase 3, if pumasa sa phase 2, they go to phase 3. This time, it's a bigger population. So there are hundreds or thousands of volunteers in phase 3. Dito, mas nakikita natin is really the vaccine safe. is it effective? Dito na nila na measure yung efficacy. Okay? And most common side effects na pwedeng hindi nakita sa phase 1 and phase 2. Mas nakikita ang efficacy sa phase 3 studies. So for COVID-19 vaccines, they initially started with 175 vaccines. Eventually, 18 vaccines went into phase 1, pero may 23 vaccines na umabot hanggang phase 2 kasi broader group. May naalis na isa, phase 3 included 22 vaccines. And currently, there are 10 vaccines that are approved or licensed in different countries. So, this is a summary of the vaccines and the types of vaccine. So, meron tayo ng protein subunit na vaccines, yun ang Sanofi at Novavax. Yung virus-like particles, may DNA or RNA or yung genetic material ng vaccines. Yan, dyan yung Pfizer at Moderna. Yung non-replicating viral vectors, nandyan yung Gamaleya, AstraZeneca at Janssen na vaccine or yung Johnson and Johnson. At may padating pa, at alam din natin, may inactivated na vaccine, yung Sinopharm at Sinovac. So, ito yung mga vaccine candidates natin. So, yung Moderna, this was from US with NIAID. So, it's an mRNA vaccine. Wala siyang kasamang kahit na anong adjuvant. 2 dose ang binibigay na 100 micrograms. Ang pagitan ng bawat dose ay 28 days at binibigay siya intramuscular. Dahil sa mRNA vaccine siya, ang storage niya medyo malamig para tumagal, -25 to -15 degrees, pero pwede siya sa refrigerated na lugar, 2 degrees to 8 degrees Celsius, up to 30 days. Okay? So, nagsimula ito noong July 7, at ang kasama dito pinag-aralan ay 30,420 na participants. At nakita dito ang vaccine efficacy niya. Ito, 94.1%. Pero mineasure ito 14 days after ng second dose. Dahil ang mga ito ay interim analysis, hanggang ngayon pinag-aaralan pa rin ng mga participants na ito. So yung 14th day after the second dose, 94% nung lahat ng binigyan ng bakunang ito ay walang COVID-19. Ano ang mga adverse events? Pwedeng local, may masakit sa injection site, namamaga, merong kaunting namamagang kulani, pwedeng lagnatin, masakit ang ulo, nanghihina, masakit ang mga joints, nagsuka, nahihilo, nagchichills. Okay? Wala naman ditong contraindication except if may allergy kayo sa any component of this vaccine. Now, yung pangalawa, isa sa mga famous kasi siya yung unang-unang naglabas, yung Pfizer na BioNTech. It's also an mRNA vaccine, wala ring adjuvant. 2 doses din na 30 micrograms isa. Ang pagitan ng bawat dose ay 21 days, so 3 weeks. At binibigay ito intramuscular. Ito yung naging, I'm sure nakikinig nyo, ito yung naging concern. Kailangan siyang store -70 degrees Celsius. Pero pag syempre ibibigay mo, palalamigin mo na lang, ito mo, pwede siya sa ref at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius for 5 days. So ginawa rin to sa US, nagsimula kasi siya mas maaga, April 29. Marami siyang nakasamang participants at 43,000 plus na participants. At ang efficacy niya ay 95% efficacy. This is at 7 days, 1 week after the second dose. Ganun siya ka-effective. Okay? Anong mga pwedeng side effects niya? Tulad din nung kanina, pwedeng magkaroon ng local reactions, such as masakit dito sa namumula, masakit yung namamaga yung in-injectionan. Pwede rin parang may fatigue or pagod na nararamdaman, headache at lagnat. Okay? Ang contraindication lang nito is if you have any allergies sa kahit na anong component ng vaccine. Yung pangatlo na madalas pag-usapan din, yung sa AstraZeneca or University of Oxford vaccine, yung ChAdOx and COVID-19. Hindi to mRNA, but it is an adenovirus vector vaccine. Okay? Wala rin siyang adjuvant. Dalawang doses niya. Iba-iba yung dose niya. Pwedeng 6 weeks up to 12 weeks ibigay at intramuscular siya. Storage niya, pwedeng 3 months na refrigerator at 2 to 8 degrees. Pero kung gusto mo magtagal, up to expiration date, 2 years sa very low temperature of negative 20 degrees. Okay? So, ito ay pinag-aralan sa UK at sa Brazil, around 4,000 to 7,000 na participants. At ang vaccine efficacy niya is 70.4%. Nung pinagsama yung pag-aaral na to, 70.4% measured 2 weeks after the second dose. Ang reactogenicity niya is more of doon sa pinag-injectionan, tenderness, fatigue, tenderness or sakit doon sa in-injectionan. Pwede rin may parang pagod na naramdaman, headache, or may parang lalagnatin. Wala rin itong contraindication except kapag merong allergy dun sa vaccine components. Yung pang-apat na may phase 3 trial, yung sa Gamaleya or Gam-COVID Vaclayo. Okay? Maraming studies na pinag-aralan dito. Okay? Yung phase 3, lumabas noong January at ang binibigay nito ay 2 doses na 21 days din ang pagitan intramuscular. Okay? Yung phase 3 enrolled 21,000 na participants. So, ibig sabihin, habang malaki, mas reliable ang result. Nakita nyo, may 40,000, 21,000 dito, may 30 plus thousand, 7,000. So, malaki talaga sila. So, yung phase 3 trial ng Gamaleya, ang sinasabi nilang vaccine efficacy is 91.6%. This is measured 3 weeks after dose 1, yung first dose. So, pinag-aaralan pa ano ang efficacy niya after ng second dose kasi 2 doses siya. So, 91.6% vaccine efficacy. Ano ang side effects or reaction niya? Again, ganun pa rin, masakit sa pinag-injectionan, pwedeng mamaga, may iba rin na nilagnat. May iba ng diarrhea or parang may colds, parang may flu-like symptoms. Wala naman sinasabing serious adverse events. Yung isa yung Novavax. Novavax, as of now, wala pang phase 3 trial. It is a subunit spike protein. Meron siyang special na adjuvant na kasama yung saponin-based matrix. 2 doses din siya. Isang 5 micrograms, yung second dose mo is 25 micrograms na 21 days apart. Wala pa siyang phase 3 trial. So hanggang phase 1 and phase 2. So hindi pa natin alam kung ano talaga yung vaccine efficacy niya. Pero may immunogenicity na siya. Kumbaga, it does develop antibodies, pero hindi pa tayo sure kung yung sa vaccine efficacy niya. Kung ma-prevent niya talaga ang COVID-19. Same thing, paulit-ulit ko lang sasabihin ito kasi lahat sila halos may local reactogenicity, which is pain, erythema dun sa injection site. And systemic reactions, which is usually fatigue, fever, nausea, or panghihina or myalgia. Yung CoronaVac, ito yung Sinovac. Ang pangalan ng bakuna is CoronaVac. It is an inactivated virus with an aluminum adjuvant. Yung adjuvant, isipin nyo na lang na para siyang kadugtong niya or balot niya. Ganon. Kunyari, mag-receive ka ng regalo, diba nakabalot siya. So, aalisin naman yun ng katawan mo eh. Alisin mo yung balot. Yung importante, mas kikiligin ka dun sa loob. So, yun yung importante na magde-develop ng antibody sa'yo. So, yung Sinovac or CoronaVac, 2 doses ito na 3 micrograms and 6 micrograms, pwedeng 14 days or 28 days apart. Binibigay din to intramuscular, tinuturok din dito. Ang storage niya sa refrigerator at 2 to 8 degrees. As of now, wala pa rin siyang phase 3 trial. Meron pa lang siyang phase 1 and phase 2 trials. At ang na-produce pa lang niya is immunogenicity. Hindi pa tayo sure kung meron siyang efficacy as of now. So, same local reactions, almost same, and systemic reactions reactions, yung fever, diarrhea, headache, nausea. So just to summarize, I'd like to give you this summary of the 4 vaccines na may phase 3 clinical trials. Kasi ito yung mahalaga sa atin, yung vaccine efficacy. So, meron tayo dito yung BNT 1612, yung sa Pfizer, yung sa Moderna, yung sa AstraZeneca, at yung sa Gamaleya. So again, di ba lahat sila phase 3, ang Pfizer at Moderna ay may FDA approval na EUA sa US, ang Astra meron sa UK, ang Gamaleya, ah, ang Gamaleya wala pa any sa US or UK. Sa Philippines, ang meron na tayong EUA approval ng ating FDA ay ang Pfizer, AstraZeneca, at ang Gamaleya na sabit nila noong January. Hinihintay natin yung approval kasi pinag-aaralan niya ng FDA. So lahat silang 4, 2 doses, usually uh, 21 days to 12 weeks apart yung sa Astra hanggang 12 weeks. Storage for Gamaleya and AstraZeneca, most of they can be stored a long time for months sa ref at 2 to 8 degrees. Uh, for Pfizer, kailangan mas malamig, negative 70 degrees kung gusto mong magtagal. Sa Moderna, 30 days, pwede siya sa ref, pero kung gusto mong magtagal, mas malamig siya. Okay? Important vaccine efficacy, 95% for Pfizer, 7 days after the second dose. Moderna, 94.1%, 14 days after the second dose. AstraZeneca, 70.4%, 2 weeks after the second dose. Ang Gamaleya, 91.6%, 21 days after the first dose. So, marami pang susunod dyan. Pwedeng magbago itong vaccine efficacy. Ito ang summary ng mga side effects na sinabi ko. Mostly local reactions and most of them are not really serious. Serious adverse events, pero hindi ito nagkakaiba doon sa kung anong nakita doon sa walang bakuna. So ano ba yung vaccine efficacy para lang mas makita natin? Kunyari, may isang si Mark, isang sales representative. So, marami siyang kausap na tao, hindi natin alam kung kung meron siyang suot na mask or hindi, pero marami siyang kausap. Sa tingin natin, ang risk niya na magkaroon ng COVID-19 ay 70%. Nilagay ko lang yan. 70%, dami niyang kausap. Yun. Binigyan siya ng bakuna. For purposes lang, kasi mas madaling i-compute, kunyari yung efficacy ng bakuna ay 50%. Dahil doon, bababa ang risk ni Mark ng 50%, magiging risk na lang niya na magkaroon ng COVID-19 is 35%. Oh, Superman na si Mark. Pero, nagmamask pala siya, nag-face shield at naghuhugas ng kamay. So, lalo pang bababa yung risk mo, 35% na bakuna, lalo pa tong bababa kasi pinoprotektahan mo eh. High quality na si Mark, di ba? So, ito yung tinatawag nating Swiss cheese respiratory virus defense. Kasi walang isang paraan para fully protektado kayo against the virus at magkaroon ng COVID-19. So maraming dapat na sabay-sabay natin gawin para hindi tayo magkaroon ng sakit na to. Nandyan yung physical distancing, ventilation, mask, nandyan yung hand hygiene, nandyan yung isolation kapag may nararamdaman, at nandyan yung bakuna. Diba? Ganun din naman pag nagka-dengue ka eh. Hindi lang naman magkukulong ka. Siyempre, maglo-lotion ka rin para hindi. Maglo-long sleeves ka. Marami kang gagawin para lalong bumaba yung tsansa mo magkaroon ng COVID-19. So, paano naman? Let us now focus on our special population, the immunocompromised host, and especially the people with HIV. So, we made this statement on patients with immunocompromising conditions. So, general statements. Yung current na available ng COVID-19 vaccine efficacy and safety for the immunocompromised host is actually konti lang, very sparse. Kasi onti lang yung mga patients na with HIV or with cancer na included doon sa napakaraming participants, sa 30,000, sa 40,000. onti lang sila. Pero we understand na these people are at risk for severe COVID-19 infection kasi mababa ang immune system nila eh. So we encourage vaccination for the immunocompromised host. But to be able to do this, they should be assessed individually by their attending physician. Important that they will be assessed because there should be a shared decision making between the physician and the person. Okay? Kailangan mapag-usapan ano ang risk, ano ang tsansa na magkaroon ng COVID after ng bakuna, ano ang side effects, anong efficacy nito. Kasi pwedeng yung vaccine efficacy may be affected kung gaano kahina ang immune system nyo, yung degree of immunosuppression. So you should be, the person with HIV or the immunocompromised host should be counseled on this possibility na baka hindi ganon yung 90% or 95% na vaccine efficacy, dahil mababa ang immune system mo, hindi 95% talaga yung makukuha mo. Okay? If yung status of immunosuppression or level of disease activity is unknown, maybe we can delay the vaccination. Di ba? Natatanda nyo yung Swiss cheese? Maraming components na pwedeng gawin bago mag-vaccinate. Baka pwede hanggat hindi natin alam kung gaano kababa kataas ang immunosuppression, pwedeng i-delay muna natin yung pagbabakuna. Definitely, sa immunocompromised patients, live vaccines hindi pwede, not recommended. Okay? Also, we have to take note that if we vaccinate the person, yung immunocompromised patients, yung mga kasama nila, yung close contacts nila, should continue to wear mask and maintain social distancing. Baka sa kanila manggaling eh. Baka sa kanila manggaling yung virus. Hindi pa nagte-take effect yung bakuna. Okay? So if kaya naman yung caregivers, household contacts, and they are members of the priority group, they should also be immunized and vaccinated. Para dalawa kayo. Kasi para hindi pwede, kung pwede lahat kayo na magkakasama, mabakunahan, better yon. Okay? So how about, let's be specific, for people with HIV. Can they receive the COVID-19 vaccine? Yes, people with HIV may receive the COVID-19 vaccine as long as they do not have any severe or immediate allergic reaction to any of the ingredients in the vaccine. So kasi gagawin yan kung nagbabakuna, dapat obserbahan kayo muna for 30 minutes to 1 hour to make sure na walang mangyayari na any immediate allergic reaction. So people with HIV who are part of the priority group, healthcare workers, the elderly, those with comorbids, may be vaccinated. Ideally, if pwede, may CD4 count tayong resulta within the past 6 months. Okay? Kasi doon natin malalaman kung ano yung degree of immunosuppression. Again, if medyo unknown, hindi tayo sure, we could consider deferring the vaccine. So again, this should be discussed with your attending physician. Ngayon, kung may OIs or opportunistic infections, and you are receiving treatment for these opportunistic infections, we should also consider this in the assessment of if you will be given the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, people with HIV are always encouraged to still adhere to your ARVs. Okay? Para always continue taking your ARVs. Hindi, you have to continue boosting your immune system and to prevent the occurrence of opportunistic infection. Okay? So you should continue your visits with your attending physician and your treatment hub. So we actually advise the people with HIV and immunocompromising conditions na if you are to get the COVID-19 vaccine, you take it in a hospital wherein specialists or your attending physicians or your treatment hubs, if it's in a hospital, are readily available. So, syempre, as of now, we're still waiting for that golden vaccine, that most coveted vaccine, kung ano may unang lalabas. While waiting for the vaccines, And again, even if you are vaccinated already, should always remember social distancing. Always keep calm. Verify all the news that you are reading. Ang dami dyan. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Wear it correctly, appropriately. Make sure there's adequate ventilation. Open the windows kung kakain sa labas. Mas maganda kung al fresco. And practice cough etiquette and avoid touching your face. Okay? Stay safe, everyone, and thank you for listening.